Hello everyone. This quick video is about a cloud comparison because there are a lot of different clouds these days, not as many as used to be, but there are 3 or 4 major cloud providers between a Microsoft cloud known as Azure, AWS, which is from Amazon, and a GCP, of course, which is a Google Cloud providers. And also there are more Oracle and some I think went out of business, like the VMware and some others. But still, I mean, the remaining cloud provider still provide almost 40% of the cloud capacity. So we're just going to talk about this one real quickly. So before I provide the authenticity of this document, so I collected these information from various sources, website, and of course the 3 cloud providers. And I read and checked the blog, and I believe this information is accurate, up to date as of August 6th, 2023. So, and you can see there are some links where I collected the data. So this is just a disclaimer. This information subject to change. I don't know at what stage you will be viewing this video, and this information would be changed. So it's always a good idea to check the provider's website for most up-to-date and recent information. So this is the comparison I came up with, where I classified into a features and then the cloud's name. So as far as the features are concerned, first we check the market share. So AWS by far is has a 32% of all cloud resource market share. Then comes the Azure, which is 19%, and the Google Cloud Provider, which is 10%. So if you add all these things, it became I think 61%. So if I'm not mistaken, so 32 plus 19 is 42 and 51, and then 61, of course. So 31% is still there are other clouds provider. And the pricing is like, they all offer reserved instances or pay as you go and spot instances. So reserved instances, of course, are cheaper in terms of you reserve for a certain number of years or a certain time frame, and pay as you go is like month to month, something like that. And the spot instances, if I'm not mistaken, it used to be like whatever is available, you bid on it and you get whatever is available. But I think those are for short term, in terms of you need a quick load for development or QA, and you do your testing and that's it, you're done. And as far as the services are concerned, they all offer compute, storage, networking, database, analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, IoT, DevOps, and security. So they may be basic are all same. And regions, actually, yeah, that's one of the important thing is region. AWS support 26 region as of today, or as of the date I mentioned earlier, August 6, 2023, where Azure provides 60 region, and then the GCP is providing 24. And each region is kind of geolocation. And then you have a availability zone within each region. Some have 3, some have 4, some have 2, or some might not have any. So availability zone within the region, AWS provide a 81, where Azure provide 94, and then GCP provide 19. So if you look at the region to availability zone comparison, see AWS has 26 region and they provide 81, versus Azure takes 60 to 94. So I think availability zone per region, AWS is the highest. Maybe because Google Cloud is also not 24 region and they provide 19 availability zone. And the most important thing is SLAs. So all 3 provide 99.9% SLAs. Documentations are available online pretty extensively. I basically like AWS because they have a lot more information, but they all have it comes under extensive. In terms of community, like how many active people are, AWS is the large and active, and also Azure is large and active. And for GCP, it's growing pretty fast. And then we talked about learning resources, so they're all provide extensive. And I think if you go to the website or you just Google it, you will get up-to-date information. So this is just a overall three clouds comparison, general idea if you are thinking about moving to cloud or migrating your on-prem data center to the cloud. And our cloud comparison between these three cloud, what are the key differences other than the information you just saw in the previous slide? So like I mentioned, AWS is the largest market share and the widest range of services. There is no doubt these guys are crazy. When I say crazy, meaning these guys comes up new features every day. And if you are supporting AWS, you have to actually be in touch. Otherwise, within a month or 2 months, you will be like, hey, what? All those options are changing or new services are coming. Azure is close second to AWS in terms of market share, and it has a strong focus on enterprise customers. And this is where I say, Azure or Microsoft Azure has a foot in a lot of organization, because if you using a Office 365, you already have access to the Azure, because your on-prem Active Directory, if you have one, is already been syncing to the cloud, Office 365 or M365, and then you already have foot in Azure. So Microsoft has an advantage over AWS in terms of customer accessing the Azure cloud. And GCP is the smallest of the three platforms, but it is growing rapidly. And it offers some unique features such as pay per second billing model. So you see this all these three clouds. Now the question comes, hey, which platform is right for you? And the best cloud platform, it will depend on your specific needs and requirement. If you're looking for like a lot of widest range of services and a largest market share, then AWS is a good choice, of course. If you are an enterprise customer, then Azure may be a better fit, because like I mentioned, you already have a foot into the cloud using Office 365. And if you are looking for a platform with unique features and a growing community, then GCP is worth considering. And if you go, or we will cover I think we covered a little bit in the previous video where we went through the GCP, the services they're offering. So you can see they have a lot more. I think the DevOps side API available for data scientists, and that's just one of many features. So anyway, the GCP is worth considering. The bottom line is, um, and also what factors do you consider when choosing the cloud platform? Hey, what's your budget? I know Azure and AWS are not cheap, and your technical expertise. So this is, I just tried to touch in my previous slide. If you have Office 365 experience, then you already have, technical folks familiar with the Azure cloud. Because the Office 365 or M365 uses Azure AD, which is of course changing its name to Entra as of this time, and you can see the Entra is trying to compete with other identity providers and bring some more features. So you already have technical expertise, and I always say, if you already have a data center and you're using Microsoft services, then extending to the cloud pretty easy, versus if you go to the GCP and or AWS, because for one thing is your identity is already being synced with the cloud. What is your specific needs and the requirement? Why do you want to go to the cloud? Is because they are like on the previous slide, you can see they all offer same what you call it, I will go back here a little bit. Yeah, here services, they all have the same services. So when you are um, trying to go to the cloud, what features and capability do you need if you have some specific? So of course, all three clouds provide some specific, some provide more database services, some provide more the DB tools, and it comes down to like, hey, what expertise you have in your organization to support your move to the cloud. And of course, the platform documentation and support resources, we already touched that one. The more you have is better, but the platform documentation is pretty extensive between the all cloud, and it's just the support resources. And of course, the last one is also very important for the growth and for troubleshooting or new features, the platform community and ecosystem. So Microsoft is pretty big, as you can see, and the AWS is also pretty big. And as far as GCP is concerned, it is growing. It's growing rapidly, especially for the last few years. I think this is all I wanted to provide. If you have any specific requirement or you need me to follow up some specific things, specific topic, I would be more than happy to do it. And in the last, I want to thank you for taking the time to reviewing this video, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.